from the Competent Communication Manual. When you join, you get two manuals. Your Competent Leader Manual, which will help you practice the roles, various roles throughout the club meeting, but most importantly, your Competent Speech Manual, which is the first 10 speeches. Start off with your icebreaker, and you work on to speech number 10, which is project is inspire the audience. Tonight, David is going to speak on a man who he admires and wishes there were more like him. Please help me welcome David Lavoie. The title of his speech is Martin Luther King's Legacy. Martin Luther King's Legacy. Toastmaster David Lavoie.
Toastmasters and welcome guests. Boy, last Monday, what a special day. Martin Luther King Day. Boy, I tell you, it gives me chills every time I think of it. He would have been 86 years old if he was not assassinated on April 4th, 1968, at the age of 39. What a shame and what a loss. With all the racial unrest that's going on in the United States right now, boy, could we use a Martin Luther King. Yes, I know we have a Sharpton and a Jefferson or Jesse Jackson, but all that's for their personal political gain. Martin Luther King won the Nobel Peace Prize, got $31 million, and he gave out back to his Baptist church. He didn't keep one nickel of it. When he left this world, he left penniless. He didn't have one penny. So Harry Belafonte, the entertainer Harry Belafonte, paid for his funeral. Now, what a shame. I mean, and it's just really was a shame that he went the way that he was assassinated and that we have nobody to emulate him today, when I think we really need somebody. But he was an activist. He was a civil rights leader. He thought of the African American rights, and he fought for them. And he had his rivals. Anybody that's old enough to remember George Wallace, who can forget George Wallace of Alabama? He was terrible guy. I mean, terrible rival. The whole state of Alabama he had believing on what Wallace believed in, and they were majority of the state was racist because of that. But it was unfortunate, and George Wallace would run time in and time out, and he would win, and when term limits seemed to prevent him from running again, he registered his wife to register. He would find more ways to finagle the system, and he did. Unfortunately, you know, we moved beyond that, and because of Martin Luther King's drive and his fight, he got President Johnson reluctantly to sign the Civil Rights Act in 1965. What a victory for the Civil Rights Movement. And I went to see a movie called Selma. Oh my goodness. Somebody asked me if I cried. Yes, I cried. I had tears in my eyes because it reminded me, I am 64 years old, so I was 15 years old in 1965. And what a terrible time of year. And the movie Selma goes through that year and that march from Selma, Alabama to Montgomery. And here's my brief review of the movie. Selma is about a movement. It chronicles the term tumultuous times that Martin Luther King went through when he was trying to gain rights for the voting rights for the African Americans. I mean, he was up against some really violent opposition. And he fought and fought and fought, and he marched. And what made it so powerful, it was both blacks and whites that were marching. It wasn't just blacks. So this wasn't a black problem. This was an American problem. And he had blacks and whites marching together, and I think that was what got President Johnson, who reluctantly signed the Voting Rights Act in 1965, and because it was going to affect him politically. And who could forget that speech that Martin Luther King gave? I have a dream. I have a dream that all valleys will be exalted, that all rough places will be made plain, that all crooked places will be made straight, and the flesh, and that the glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all the flesh shall see this together. I am going to go back to the South with this faith that I go back with, and that this happens. And if I may, in conclusion, if I may quote one person, Rodney King, can we all get along? Can we all get along? Well, this was my speech number 10, and it was the last one for my Competent Communicator manual section. And so I've been going like crazy here to try to get to this point, and hopefully, and it was to inspire people. And I hope this last speech was able to do that. Thank you.